Hey YouTube world, I am back with another video. Today I want to talk about 10 reasons to buy or not to buy mid-range indie brands. And this can include luxury in general, whether it's handbags, which is what I'm going to be focused on a little bit more today, but jewelry, SLG, sunglasses, you name it. Many of you have found me because you are looking or just appreciate what indie brands have to offer. There is also this other terminology called micro brand that is used quite often in other industries. And how I would describe or define indie brands or micro brands is the mom and pop shop who are usually run by the founders themselves and are independent of these big luxury conglomerates, such as LVMH, but not limited to, but LVMH, Kering, Tapestry, Capri. Majority of the reason of why all of you may have gravitated towards these indie micro brands is that one, you really love luxury handbags or perhaps jewelry, but because the big luxury pieces have their prices have just gotten out of control, or you are looking for more unique designs because we know big luxury can recycle their designs and dig into their archives to reissue their designs, right? So let me tell you 10 reasons to buy or not to buy indie brands, but let's start with why to buy indie brands. So let's just get right into it. Reason number one, value for your hard-earned money. And usually the price range for these indie brands are under $1,000. I'm going to spend a little bit more time on this because this is usually the biggest factor. Because they are independent, the overhead can be extremely low because their staff could only consist of a few people, usually themselves, maybe one other person. For example, The Horse from Australia has a team of 6 people. I also did an interview with the Parisian brand Ateliers Auguste. Their co-founder, Laurence, they're also a team of 5 or 6 people. So that seems like kind of the sweet spot, but what they don't have is their own department of legal and compliance. Other overhead includes marketing and branding. We know that big luxury spend a shit ton of money towards commercials, sponsorships, glamorous events, photo shoots, packaging, as well as brick and mortar stores, manufacturing facilities, which cost millions and billions of dollars. Someone's paying for it, and guess who that is? That's right, you are paying for it as the consumer if you are purchasing from them. Now, indie brands aren't flying models anywhere to Saudi Arabia or Fiji to do glamorous photo shoots, which again, they're doing these kind of photo shoots to be showcasing how glamorous it is for them to, or for you to purchase and wear their bags. So the aspirational customers, so to speak, if I have this bag, I could be in Fiji. If I go to Fiji, I should have this bag. That's kind of the vibe they're going for. Ultimately, that all flows into the actual cost of the luxury item itself. Now, these indie brands, instead of pouring all of that capital into the marketing, the branding, they're putting the money into the product itself. Now, they may spend some money on marketing like Instagram or Facebook ads, and I don't know, maybe TikTok. I don't know how TikTok works, but they're also working with content creators like me. That's pretty much the extent of it. Hence, they're able to keep the costs relatively or much lower. They can spend more money on the quality of the materials that they use. Sometimes, not all the time, but for example, Atelier Auguste, with their bag, they use gold-plated hardware, whereas companies like Chanel, this is a vintage Chanel, they did away with using gold-plated hardware back in 2008. So that's the biggest difference. Reason number 2 is design. This is the second biggest factor, in my opinion, of why a lot of luxury lovers out there are looking at indie brands. When a big luxury brand is designing a new bag, a new wallet, or a jewelry piece, they have to think about the mass market. What is going to be the biggest hit with Gen Pop? This is the exact reason why you see Louis Vuitton reissuing the Neverfull again and again with just updates like being reversible or doing a collaboration like the Murakami or perhaps the key clay in different sizes. They know that that is a formula that is going to work, and I understand. If I were a businessman at Louis Vuitton, completely understand, would totally do the same thing. Or perhaps you see Gucci re-releasing the disco bag, but now just calling it the Blondie. But personally, as my handbag journey evolved, I want to look at quality, unique designs. I don't want a bag that when I just walk down the street, I see 6 other girls wearing the same handbag. I want to wear a bag that is quite innovative, not like completely out there, that's just kind of like off the rockers, but I want some sort of innovative design aspect to it. And that is something that indie brands have the capability to do because they don't have to answer to any like shareholders, CEOs, or CMOs. They're able to take the risk that the big luxury brands simply won't take. Such as this Leo at Violet, where they've got this self-closing little clasp thing that if you were to press on it, it kind of closes by itself. Whereas the Chanel, it's like the CC turn lock. They've been doing this for decades. And yes, it's always a big hit and that's what people want. Again, catering to the gem pop where everybody wants the CC logo and the little turn lock, right? Is there anything innovative that Chanel has done over the years that is just like a new kind of clasp? No, not really. And they're, again, just using the formula that keeps working and just pumping out bags with that CC logo and the turn lock. Or this Kafune, which is such a cool design. And yes, you still have the clasp right here. It's not a turn lock, but it is a really unique design. And to me, that is the beauty of discovering new brands and see what they have to offer. The risk that they take is also a con, which I'll touch on this a little bit later in the video, but overall, this is my opinion, but also the reason why true handbag lovers are so into indie brands like I am. Reason number 3 is feedback and improvements. Indie brands are very in tune with their customer feedback and building relationships with their customers. If they're smart, they would be scouring YouTubers, content creator videos for feedback that we're giving them. They also should be looking at the comment sections of these videos to see what customers are saying. This allows them to make updates to their design, quality control of the handbag or the jewelry item. They literally cannot afford to not make these updates because they will lose sales if they don't fix that problem. But it's also up to us to voice those concerns because in my day job, I do sales and consulting. I tell all of my clients because our relationship is new, you need to tell me what you're not happy about because I can't fix what I don't know. Kind of like a new boyfriend or girlfriend relationship, right? Or perhaps like Ryan Gosling from The Notebook screaming at Rachel McAdams, "What do you want?" Because these are small mom and pop shops, they can actually make those changes pretty quickly without having to go through 20 layers of approvals like the big luxury brands. Now, again, I'm using Atelier Auguste as an example the most because I actually had a conversation with Laurent, the co-founder, that he personally goes through all of the feedback and actually incorporates it into his next design, or next batch run. Even some of you have reached out to me saying that you had email exchanges with Laurent about your bag that you got from them. How cool is that? And that's not something you're going to experience or get with big luxury brands. For example, Dior with their book tote and the glue turning yellow or just cracking. I don't even know if they fixed that. Or LV with their mini palm springs where the first iteration, the zipper was built on the inside and it kept getting caught. And then they finally released like the updated version. It probably literally took thousands of people complaining before they did anything about it. Reason number 4, supporting small businesses. The handbag world is dominated by big luxury brands. This one is actually quite personal to me as my parents were business owners. So we live in a world of capitalization and globalization. The big companies are gobbling up the smaller companies. And it's not just the luxury world. I see it in pretty much all of the different industries. The general consensus is that we all need to support the small businesses because small businesses is what keeps innovation going. Now, if everything in this world is monopolized by a few big conglomerates, it would be quite boring, especially in the luxury world, because if you really think about it, the same CEOs are jumping around from one big company to another company. The same creative director is going from one shop to another. How much innovation can you really see? And we saw that happen with Daniel Lee going from Bottega to Burberry. Like, it was kind of a flop, right? And Alessandro Michele going from Gucci to Valentino. I mean, the list just keeps going on. Reason number 5, unlimited options. I've started a whole entire series of mid-range handbag brands that you didn't know about. I think there's almost 10 videos where I cover about, I want to say close to 50 micro brands. It's fascinating to learn about the stories of each of these brands. There's always something new to discover. And I'll link a playlist pinned down below, in description, up above, everywhere, so that you can go check it out if you're interested in. I have a running list of like 50 brands on my phone that every time something pops up, I'm like, ooh, this looks interesting. I'll add that to the list. Speaking of which, I don't think I remember the last time I did one of those videos, probably more than 6 years or 6 months ago. I'm due for another one. I'm thinking about doing one and starting a series for that, for jewelry as well. Let me know what you guys think. So going back to the unlimited options, this could be a pro, but it could also be a con, because really it depends on how you look at it. Some people might not want to do the work for it, which is why you watch my channel, so I can do the work for you. And as I said, you most likely found me because you and I have the same interests in handbags and luxury items in general. Speaking of the same interests, have you hit that subscribe button? And if you are new here, drop a comment down below to let me know you are new so I can welcome you to my channel. If you are a regular, you know what to do. I know it's a small thing to ask to hit that subscribe button, but it does really help my channel grow as I'm doing more research, spending a lot of time finding new brands for us to all discover at the same time. And every single engagement helps, whether you think it is or not. That like, that comment, it does help me and my content reach a wider audience. I don't gatekeep my handbag secrets, so don't gatekeep me from all of the handbag lovers out there, just saying. Okay, here are the reasons why you might not want to buy indie brands. Reason number 1, brand and product equity. These bags are generally not very high dollar amounts, hence if you decide to sell any of these indie bag brands, or just, again, jewelry, whatever, luxury, they're generally not going to sell for much. These brands do not have the same recognitions like the big conglomerates, the big luxury like Hermes, Louis Vuitton, Celine. They have hundreds of years of experience, not all of them, but decades, at least some of them hundreds. Years of history, experience, marketing that built a foundation of loyal customers. That is something indie brands don't have, or these micro brands don't have. So you just really have to be aware of that. Oh, these are forever bags. I'm gonna keep this in my collection forever. Don't lie to yourself. You at some point may fall out of love with the bag and it's just sitting there collecting dust. It might just be best to move them on, and you could totally see this as a pro or a con, right? As a pre-love buyer, it's harder for you to find these indie brands on the secondary market. And if you do buy one, it better be at a significant discount, like 50 or 70% off, or else you're not buying it, right? Because if you are only saving 50 or $100 with some scuff or fault to the bag, you might as well dish out that extra 50 to $100 to buy a brand new one. Again, all of these indie brands I'm talking about are usually under the $500 or under $1,000 mark. Now, if you are the seller of the indie bag brand or the micro brand, it's harder for you to find a buyer of the bag as the brand recognition isn't there. So you will have to sell it at a significant discount. So just keep that in mind as you're making these micro brand purchases, because again, history, etc., etc. Reason number 2 why you may not want to buy a micro indie brand is inspired design. There are a lot of micro brands out there that do a fantastic job with innovative designs, such as this RSVP. This is definitely unique. And of course, building the interior magnets, I rave about that all the time. But there are also plenty of inspired or dupes, such as the dress up your purse. This could be a pro or a con depending on your personal opinion. Sometimes you just want a bag design without the luxury experience or the price tag, right? Or perhaps they take a big luxury design and enhance it. For example, the Loewe puzzle bag. I no longer have this bag. I actually decided to return it because there's just too many duplicates in my collection, but they were able to enhance it by having the magnet opening up at the top as opposed to a zipper opening. In my opinion, that is a dupe. However, they made enhancements to the bag. Or looking at this Hermes ring that is incredibly popular, and this is sterling silver. Costs like what, $500 or $600, $700 on their Hermes website, or buying from them directly. Mandy has this one in the gold, solid gold version, and that was like what, $2,500. There are so many other options out there that are dupes, and solid gold for like $300, $400. What you're paying for with this design is really just the Hermes name to it, right? Sterling silver shouldn't cost this much money. So this is more or less subjective and basically what you are comfortable with. Reason number 3 is exchanges and returns. This is kind of a tough one because the beauty of globalization is that we now have access to all of these different indie brands around the world where you don't have access to their brick and mortar store because generally they only have one store in their country of origin or no stores at all. They're strictly an e-commerce company, which ultimately helps the retail prices of their products. These smaller companies don't have the resources to pay for shipping and return. Maybe they'll provide free shipping, but not so much free returns. The exchange or return cost could end up on you, so you will have to pay attention to that detail in their FAQs and return policy before you make that purchase. In my series of indie brands that you don't know about, I generally do cover that information with you, which again could change at any given point in time. So you always want to make sure to look at their return policy. And if you haven't shipped internationally before, it's hella expensive. So be a little bit understanding when these companies can't pay for your return. And if you want free returns, chances are they're going to build that into the cost of the bag, thus raising the prices for everybody instead of the one-off person who might have changed their minds on the color of the bag that they want, or they just don't want the bag anymore. Reason number 4 that you may not want to buy from an indie brand is going to be inventory. The inventory they have on hand is going to be limited, right? We also live in the age of instant gratification. Amazon pretty much has spoiled all of us. The same day, the next day shipping. We have come to expect for the item to show up on our doorsteps, in a day, the next day. Whether it's subconscious or not, you have that expectation. Recently, I ordered a pair of loafers that took 5 or 6 weeks to arrive, and it was like a made to order. They do it in small batches. I also ordered this diamond ring that also took about 5 to 6 weeks to arrive, and I got really annoyed. Even though I knew what I was signing up for, I had to check myself, and you knew this going in when you purchased it. So these indie brands only have a certain amount of resources and capital to produce these handbags or products in general in batches. If there is a new release or a viral product from them, they will instantly sell out, which you have to jump on it. And of course, if you don't follow me on Instagram, definitely do so because I post all of the viral products that come back in stock, or perhaps they go on sale. Follow me, I do post them, and you got to be quick to jump on that deal. So many of you have reached out, it's like, darn it, I missed it, I slept on it, or whatever it is. So definitely follow me on Instagram if you haven't done so already. But if there is, like I said, a new release or viral product and you missed out on it, not that you need to buy anything really, let's be realistic here. However, if you missed out on it, you're gonna have to wait a month, 2 months, 3 months, and then maybe put in a pre-order. So you do have to have patience, which if you think about it, might be a good thing, because if you have to wait 3 months and you still want it, then that means you really do need the bag. But if you forgot all about it 3 months later, maybe you don't need the bag and you save some money. I don't know, is that girl math? Yeah, totally is girl math. Another example is Actate Nation. I haven't talked about this bag in a while, but they have a website that is full of products, but everything is always sold out. And a couple of you actually reached out to me saying that you emailed Actate Nation and no response, nobody's responding there. I see some items do come back in stock and then it just disappears and is out of stock. So I'm glad I was able to pick up this iconic alley bag, which is such a great design. I love this bag. So it's a little sad. I don't know what's going on over there. Which brings me to my next point when it comes to customer service and no response, right? The last reason is customer service and possible quality control issue. This is part of a small business and their growing pains. I mean, even for my own YouTube channel, I've seen this myself. The quality of my videos since I started, my first videos, I cringed, I don't even want to look at it, has grown significantly since I started. That took me a lot of time, a lot of research, and a lot of money to figure this out. And this is just me and myself. Obviously, I still have a lot to improve on. Imagine running a whole entire business with multiple employees and dealing with external vendors. So anyways, going back to handbags and jewelry and whatnot, this is not always the case, but a lot of these brands do not have their own manufacturing facilities. They create their own designs. Then they find a manufacturer. They have to source the material and then have these items created. When you outsource anything, quality control can, not always, but can be a problem. You may do quality control on a few products. Let's just say there are, 500 or 1,000 bags or even 2,000 of these bags that come in. You may check on the quality control on a few of them, but not every single one of them. And sometimes things can slip through the cracks. So when you're a 5 or 6 person shop, you have to wear every single hat of the business. So capacity can be an issue, and there's just not enough time of the day for them to look over every single bag and look at every stitch in every corner, right? So it's just the nature of a small business. You then have to turn around and feel all of the customer service issues, right? Us as consumers want a great customer experience, which you may not always get depending on the business. However, you can also say the same thing for the big luxury brands, right? But generally not as bad because you are paying thousands of dollars where they are able to hire customer service agents as their dedicated job. But like I said, it's not always the case. Even with the big luxury, customer service can be kind of horrendous sometimes. For example, Victoria from Accounting for Luxury did a video recently on her Cartier experience and how it went sideways. I personally had a phenomenal experience with Cartier, which I'll cover, so stay tuned for that video. But another example would be the horse and their Clementine bag. I actually have another one, the mini Clementine, and other horse bags. I think I still have like 3 or 4 bags from the horse. I had a really good experience, a great experience with all of my pieces with them. This one smells like leather. Every piece I got from the horse smelled like leather. And the quality is great. However, many of you who received the Clementine had told me that this bag had a super offensive smell, like a chemical smell. This, in my opinion, was due to a lack of quality control on their end due to an overwhelming demand for their bags. Like, this bag went viral. My speculation, not confirmed, is that they had to source additional material like leather from maybe other vendors and then send it off to their manufacturer. Again, I don't know if it's the same company, but the leather was not the same as the original, which was just what I got. And when they got the bags back to their possession, ready to be shipped out to the customers, they would have smelled how bad the bag was. And the right thing to do was not to ship the bag out, but they, again, lack of quality control and or care. I don't know. I personally had a phenomenal experience, so I can't really speak to that. But if you got one that smelled terrible, that's generally due to the lack of quality control. So that wraps up the 10 reasons to buy or not to buy indie/micro brands. So if you've been with me for a while, you know I'm a big fan of indie brands as I built my entire channel on discovering new brands and supporting the mom and pop shops. I still love my big luxury, but I've really leaned into my love for indie brands a lot more the past few years. So let me leave a luxury alternative playlist so that you can go down that rabbit hole if you want to with me. Life is hard. I want to help you save time and money so that you can somehow adult easier and hopefully less than retail. I'll see y'all next time.